Welcome to a Homestar Pacetti Realty Network, Mastering Real Estate training event.
On how to navigate the property appraiser website. With our guest, Freddy Garrett, a retired property appraiser from Putnam County, Florida.
Good morning, I'm Freddy Garrett. I live in Putnam County presently. I was born and raised in St. Augustine. Started appraising for Security First Federal in 1975. Then as time went on, I was doing some mortgages, and then I worked for the property appraiser's office as a field appraiser and residential manager for 11 and a half years in St. John's. And then after that, I went to work in Putnam County as a residential manager and ag rep for 4.5 years, of which I retired back in 2022. And here I am now. I do property tax consultation, teach people how to navigate the websites of both property appraiser's office, etc. What I'm going to kind of go over with you this morning is I'm going to kind of go over basically where you can navigate it and find things you might need.
Freddie, what site is this?
This is a Putnam County Property Appraiser's website. You can get that from the property search screen. When you're going on your property search screen, you have 4 ways to find a property. There are 4 ways. You can find it by either name of the owner, you can buy it by address, parcel account number, or Putnam County has another number. It's called a VID number. So I use 911 address most of the time, unless I know the VID number. That bill drives that simple. Okay, so if you see this, this is the parcel account number. This is what's called the VID number, 4 digits. If you ever get that number, you can find anything. It's part of their new system that they got in about 3 years ago. Makes it easier than typing out all those digits over there to the left.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you get on this parcel, you have everything you're going to want to see is right here on that line and that line. Okay, so let's say, for instance, I wanted to see, can you navigate the map, or will this do it for me? Okay. So let's say I just want to have a map of the parcel right now. So this is going to show you where it's at. Okay. Let's say I want a satellite view of it, because I want to see what's around it. So, and you can zoom out and you can zoom in, but that's just kind of a basic thing that you may want to look at. So then let's say, for instance, you're wanting to get, when you want to go to the GIS, you have to know how we have GIS on the first screen. When you pull up that GIS, it's going to just show you the whole county. Then you would have to try to toggle to whatever parcel you want. A secret to all this is if you're on the street and you're riding down the street, and let's say you've got a property that you're getting ready to list on that street, but you want to know something about it. One of the things that you can do is if you write that address down, just pick an address, okay? Then you can get to this page, this is really a blown up version of the property record card. But if you go to GIS, once you get here, you're going to get to a space that says layers on the bottom. Takes a little bit of time to get there. Okay, so you come down here and you got this legend's just going to tell you some different things. I use the layers because I want to find, you can go do all these different sales on here. You can do them for 24, 23, 22, 21. you can go back and when I do market analysis, I may do 2 years of sales to see what has happened on that street. Or let's say if I wanted to use that whole area, okay? So right now, I want to see the 2024 sales. Okay, this parcel here sold it's on the point. That's mine. This parcel here sold it. Let's have a little red house on it. Okay. So that parcel sold. And let's say I want to see that property record card. I don't want to get rid of the main card that I'm on because that's the property that I'm looking at, okay? But I want to know what about this. All you have to do is click right here and you're going to get that card. And I want to know what Mr. Becraft paid for that. So here's where he bought it for $625,900 back in 23. And then you can find the subsequent sales for that parcel. Now, let's say I'm tired, I want to get away from that, I may want to go to another parcel. You may want to know a lot of information about that parcel because you may be comparing it to something you have listed on here. So that's just, anytime you click on it. Now there's another thing, if, let's say there was a house there, which it's supposed to be there, because, let me put this up here, 20. It's sold. See, there's a house there. If you double click on this house, it should just pull up that it's sold. It won't pull up all the other information that we have. That's not working right now. But anyway, if you double click on the house, it's going to show you just a little box that says who it sold from and to and the sale price. And down at the bottom of that little box, it'll give you a link if you want to look more about it and pull up the card. Okay, that's one of the layers you have. Then, let's say, of course, now see how some of these lots have dimensions and some of them don't? And a lot of times, if it is a double lot sale, you won't have the dimensions on it. I don't know why their site is like that, but it won't. Like, see, it doesn't give you the depth, the frontage of this on this canal. Like mine doesn't give you the frontage on the canal. But those lots, the single lots, I know what it is just because I know the lot sizes. Single lot 70 by 120. But if you don't know that, and it could be an odd shaped lot, he could have bought half of another lot like is in this case.
The big lot there is, is it right there? Is that 2 lots?
That's 2 lots. But you
And
got
put
that little
together
5 and
with
that little 4.
One tax ID number, right?
One tax ID number,
So-
one VIN number.
So if you wanted to change that, you wanted to go back and separate those, you can do that, right?
You can do it if there's not a building on that other side, or if part of the house isn't on it.
Yeah, right. I understand.
Like, I'm gonna use my lot as an example. The it used to be just this lot. It was just a single family, 3-bedroom, 2-bath with a carport. When the previous owners bought it, they bought this lot and put a big utility room and a 2-car garage on it. So now it's all one.
Yeah.
Now, what you see here, this really is one parcel. It's an Airbnb, it has a little house there with a pool, and on this lot, non-permitted, they built a guest house. Built it at night because I watched it, okay? So, but both times it sold twice since I've been there back in 2015. They kept these parcels separate, okay? there's doubt of whether if they decided to sell the guest house off by itself, if the county would allow it. Because it works off of this septic tank for this. That's just some kind of crazy
Your
thing. that happened.
Airbnb works there?
This has been an Airbnb since 2017 and stays occupied pretty regularly.
What kind of rent they get, do you know?
They were getting $185 a night. It's got a pool, 2 boathouses, it's got a big elevated sun deck on it. It's really nice. The bunkhouse that's on that other lot has a full kitchen, full bath, and it's got 5 bunk beds in it. The main house was totally gutted and renovated. A guy in Ponte Vedra did all that and then sold it.
You as the next door neighbor, do you have any difficulties with it?
I have not had any difficulties with it. Matter of fact, the previous owner, when I rented that house for Thanksgiving every year, and I was the caretaker for it for a while. But my family loved going there for Thanksgiving and Christmas, stuff like that. Because I got all the kids together, which is a wonderful thing.
Yes, it did.
But you have, that's one layer. This is just kind of, this gives you an aerial of that section for those years. Okay, so you could see any change that might have happened from 2005 to 2014 to 2023, if that's something you wanted to look at. Okay, that's on that base map gallery. Let's say I wanted to print that card, I could print it here. Let me come back here. This is identifier. Let's say I clicked on it, it would put that identify mark on that parcel. So I could scroll all around and come back to it if I wanted to. Let's say I wanted to, there was a house on there and I wanted to draw and measure something. Okay, you click on that, it's going to give you a tool for drawing and measuring. All these different icons. That's a whole one-day class just on that feature, because it is hard to understand, and I know how to do it because I've done it. I just use this one because it's just a straight line measure, and I can put in what I want. I can get the color and font size. Let's say I wanted to measure from here to here, which it's already done, but you could do a sample of it, and you can do it and have it different colors. You could have it block, you can have round, you can do all kinds of things on the site. That is a feature that seldom gets used. Print, and then you could share this with someone else if you wanted to. And then at the end, if you ever get confused about any of them, you hit a help guide and it'll come up and it'll answer whatever question you have. The one you're going to use the most is the layer list, which is sales and all. Let me look here for a second. I'll look here and see. So this gives you you click on this, you could get all these different things to come up. Like, you know, if you wanted to know about ingress and egress utility, these are the colors. If you see any of these colors on there anywhere, this is what those describe. A lot of times when you pull it up, it will show you a different color. Then you got these other, you know, road center lines. You can click on any of those to get that stuff. Not used a lot. Here's something you'll need to know, that if it's a sale and it's improved, it's going to have a house on it. If it's vacant, it's just going to have a square. And the color of the square indicates the year that it's sold. This is 2023 sales right here. Any questions so far?
What is an ingress and an egress?
Okay, that would be the road.
Okay. And then if you clicked on easement, you'd be able to see the easement that goes
If
one
it has
property
one.
through another one?
Yeah, if it
Yeah.
has one.
Okay, cool.
Now there is, let me see here, when I come down here. Okay, as I come down here, I can find, if I want to, let's say, let me get down here to what I really want to find. They moved it. Okay. That's where your water is currently. And it shows how it goes up on the property. Now you can see where mine goes. My bulkhead actually sits out here. But if you look at this, this has, when it's like this, that's, everything there is in a flood hazard area. It's in the flood zone.
Oh,
All of this, where these lines are, that means you're in a flood zone. These,
where's the legend for that, or the key that shows you?
what I did is I clicked this firm here, where it says firm public. Let me get over here.
Historical firm?
Yeah, that's historical. Now I'm gonna hit a different one. Let me click off of that.
How far historically does that just go, like anything
I think it's
past
1937.
2000? Oh, okay.
See, that doesn't show you as much as the other one.
Why not?
You know, the thing is with these systems, like I clicked on this one, there's no change here. Some of them may be turned off by the property appraiser's office. A lot of times, like, see, there's no change here.
Well, see, if you looked at that other thing where you had the satellite view, it went back to like 2005.
Mm-hmm.
Between 2005 and 2008 is when they built up this area that I had noticed. So I think that all of that
That was
was
built up
added
before
land.
2005.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh.
You take this, well, what's crazy about, I'm gonna use this slide as an example because I'm very familiar with it. When the previous owner bought this, it had a mobile home sitting here that got flooded back during Hurricane Matthew. When I say flooded, I mean flooded was 3 feet up the walls, okay? He demoed it, okay? He demoed the carport that was there and brought in 45 loads of fill. Okay, the reason being is because Putnam County Building Department told him that if he wanted to build a house on it, he had to be above the cedar tree in the backyard.
You bury his tree?
Well, the floor, the finished floor level had to be above that tree based on this map.
Uh-huh.
So what he did is he brought in 45 to 47 loads of fill, let it sit, had it tamped down to get solid. Then he built a house up on piers 12 feet off the ground. 12 by 12 concrete block footings all the way around.
12 by 12
If there's a
blocks?
storm, I want to be in that modular home sitting on stilts.
Hanging out.
Okay, so
till it
this
gets blown away.
map is really deceiving because you look at this lot, water drains. He had to build a French drain down here because he built it so high, water was flooding this lot.
Oops.
Kylie, can you see her?
Yes, sir.
So that's kind of some of the stuff you can find on the layer list. I'm just kind of giving you some basic stuff because I could go into some stuff and y'all would look at me like I was crazy. And I am to a degree. So don't. But these are the two that you will use the most. Okay. Let's say I really wanted to decorate the screen up. So I'm gonna click there. there, 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 and there. I might even go back to 219. Okay, now, come out. Well, okay, so then I'm gonna come down here and I'm gonna take this off of here. Okay, this is just so that you can see the different colors that you're gonna see. So you can see different kind of properties that sold at different times.
Now, how do you see what the difference of the colors is? Just by clicking on all of them, or is there like another thing?
Like, I'm just saying them because I know them, okay? But if you want to click on it, it's going to give you this. Like I'm gonna click on this one just because I can. I'm familiar with that house, so. But it's not giving it. It should give me the information I want, but let me see what it does. Okay. So this tells me that it sold in 21 and it sold for $305,000. So if you just click on the color, okay, the most recent color is going to be the pink, which is 2023 sales. Because as I'm looking at it, it does not look like they have the 24 sales up to speed yet. Because I know of a house that sold on my street that's not up here yet.
Yeah, because how often do they get updated? Because I actually just, I was trying to research a house.
They're going to be 9 months behind this.
Ew.
Yeah, they're at least 9 months behind.
That's bad. Everybody's like pregnant in the county. They're just gonna have a baby and then get back to you.
But now I'm going to slowly click off of them and you'll see how the color will go away.
Ooh, orange.
So 2020 is the orange, which was a pretty good year, considering. The 2021 was the light blue. 2022 was the purple. So that means these 4 are in 2024.
Those are big lots.
Yeah. So for 42.2. When you're looking at sales, when you see this right here, if it's an 01, it's a qualified sale. If it's an 02, it's a multi-parcel sale. So that 42.2 was for all of those parcels. And for all of these. See, that 02, and they're all vacant.
How do you check? Can you check zoning on here?
Most of the time. Let me see if it's going to show it on here. Come on, give me color. No, it's not going to tell you zoning. Most property appraisers' websites will not give you the zoning. And if you go in there and ask them, they'll say, you'll have to call building and zoning. Mm-hmm. Even if they know what it is.
Okay.
So then if you just want to see it clean, you just, Now, also you can move it, however you want to. The thing that to me was the nicest thing about this site is I can move it all around. I want it, and I'll end up back on that parcel when I click this. So I'm back here. The other things you can find out about a parcel is if you're wanting to know if it is delinquent on taxes, you can find it up here. Okay.
This is also where you can find zoning usually too, like see property use, single family.
But you're not, just God says single family, mobile homes are also allowed in that neighborhood.
Yeah,
Modulars allowed in that neighborhood.
sure.
The difference in Palaca is an 0100, see that 0100 right there? That is the property use that's on there now.
Okay.
If it's an 0200, it's going to be a mobile home.
Okay, that's good.
Modulars are now classified by the state as single family dwellings. So most of the time it's going to have an 0100 on it. The other thing about Putnam County, there's so many modulars over there now, but if you ride by any lot over there and you see the power on a pole outside it, it's a mobile home, but don't take that to the bank.
Okay.
Because there's some modulars out there that have the pole on the power on the pole.
You said if it's 0100.
0100, it's going to be a single family or a modular. An 0200 will be a mobile home. On this particular street, there's one mobile home. There's one mobile home, there's 3 modulars, and the rest are single family.
If you sell a modular, you don't have to say it's a modular. It's just a home, right?
You just say it's single family, yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't, you don't have to break out that it is a modular anymore.
Right.
You used to have to, but you don't have to do it now. Is there anything else? You know, here you can see the trim notice. You can go back and see what it was for various years. Good stuff now. But anyway, you can go back. You can pick whatever tax roll you want to go back to see.
What is a trim notice?
Let me see. I can't get this to move
The
now.
battery died. You want to click on?
Or did it just freeze?
Oh, I think it froze.
Trim notice it's called truth and millage. What that's going to give you is an estimate of what your property tax bill based on what the county either approves or doesn't approve. Okay, so it's what you're going to get in September, and kind of gives you an idea of what you can anticipate your tax bill to be. It's going to show previous year and current year. You can actually pull up the actual tax bill now on here. That PRC over there, if you want, let's say you wanted to get a property record card and you wanted to print it, you can click on it, the property record card will show up. You can print it. One thing about it, where it says images down here,
Oh, there we go.
a lot of times all that's going to show is the layout of the house sitting on the lot. They've tried to update that to where you could actually see pictures of the house, front and a back picture of the house. That's what they're required to take over there now to post on the website. And they get posted, but they're supposed to go here, and not all of them have gone there yet. Did we lose it?
A little freezing. A little freezage.
Questions about what you may want to look for, what you want to find, I'll try to answer it without that being up.
Guys, we're going to be doing a lot more business in Putnam County, so if y'all got some questions about it, you need to add.
Now, I'll give you guys my phone number if you want to call me and ask me any questions. I ran out of cards when I was doing this in Citrus County the other day. They took half of the box of cards, and I'm hoping I don't get that many calls over there because I'm not over there as much as they'd like me to be over there. But my phone number is 904-377-9723. 9723.
And what was your name?
Freddy, F-R-E-D-D-Y, Garrett, G-A-R-R-E-T-T.
And you're currently with the property appraiser?
No, I retired.
Okay.
What I'm doing right now is a lot of property tax consultation. And because everybody, when you get your trim notice, a lot of people don't agree with what their value is. Typically, property appraiser's office is going to be about 80 to 85% of what actual market value is. That's kind of a rule of thumb. And don't take the property record card as the law or gospel, because it gets messed up. I'll get called, you know, there's tax reps out there that do all this kind of stuff, but most of them don't even know how to look at the record card. But there are errors on the property record card. Okay. Like we had one recently that guy called me. He disagreed with the square footage. Okay. The problem with the square footage was that they included an unfinished screen porch in the square footage, which was 422 square feet. And they were counting it as house because he had a mini split in it. Mini split does not make it a finished living area.
What's a mini split?
Mini split is those little, you'll see them on the outside of a wall. There's what's called zone heating and air. It's not
Ductless HVAC?
it's a ductless. They call them ductless HVACs, but all property appraisers' websites call them mini splits. And when if you see a card that you're questioning it, look in their extra features, and in their extra features, it'll say mini split, and their figure that they use is $1,500 for a mini split. They're going to assess you for it, but in this particular case, they assessed that whole room as a heated and cooled living area, and it wasn't, because it had unfinished walls. So I went and argued it and got their property taxes reduced $360. So, because I do that, I'll do that, and I know how to argue in front of the value adjustment board because I've done it so much on both sides of the fence. So don't take the card as being gospel. You need to really kind of dwell down on it if you're having that. And a lot of times when you're listing something, you'll see one thing at the house, and when you look at the property card, they're not going to match up. Because they use different jargons on their drawing. Like an FUT is a finished utility. Who would know what FUT is?
I would say something else.
I mean, I'm just using it. Well, what would you say an FOP is?
Oh my gosh. I don't know what we're even talking about.
Like if you see a sketch of a house on a property card, which I'm sure you've seen some. Well, an FOP is a finished open porch.
Oh.
Now, how would you as a consumer know that?
I was like front of property.
And an FSP is a finished screen porch. So, I mean, they have these little things that you need to know when you're doing that, when you're out there looking at stuff. So it can get daunting at sometimes.
All right. Getting closer to getting back on.
Property search. Good, you brought it right back up. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine right there.
Okay.
So you've got, when it says features, this is the extra stuff that he has on, like, previously, property appraiser's office didn't value generators. They have 3 different levels of generators. I think there's 3,500, 5,000, 10,000, depending on the size of the house and all that other stuff. This is a new one for them. This just happened in the last year. They're now putting a value, they're even assessing pavers now. if you notice, there's nothing up there for concrete like driveways and walks and stuff.
Oh.
That's not there as an extra feature. He has his predominantly of his yard is crushed asphalt millings, which are expensive,
Yeah.
and it's not anywhere on there.
Hopefully it's covered by insurance.
And so that's just some kind of, these are things that you'll see on a card that you wouldn't know about. Now, he's got some open porches that they don't have on there either. Let's see if they've got, let me see what they show you in images. So, here is, wait a minute. He doesn't have an apartment. I'm sorry guys, I'm noticing some stuff. That's an old drawing. This is the new one. This is what was there previously. That's why I messed up. This is what's here now. And this is the newest drawing. Click on it and you can pull it up where you can see everything on it. You know what a boo is? Make a guess.
Basement office?
No, that is, that's the house.
Okay.
The boo is the house. Base house is 1,152 square feet. This is an open finished porch. Open finished porch in the back. This is the craziest thing that they do. This is a covered stairway and they call it a canopy. Right in back. There's underneath this is a carport, and they're charging them for an open porch underneath the stairway, which it's not a porch because it's a stairway, and same thing in the back. Just to give you an idea of what some of the images are that they have. Sometimes you can see pictures on it.
So if that was your property, you would argue with them for
Oh,
that?
yeah,
So you
in a
wouldn't
heartbeat.
you wouldn't get taxed on that?
Oh, in a heartbeat, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I would argue those things. This property's got a lot of things to argue. Mm-hmm. I'm not volunteering it to him, but he's got a lot of stuff he could argue about. But now, are y'all familiar with tax cap?
Familiar with no cap?
Okay. This will come into play as you're looking at foreclosures and distressed properties. This is a new house and a new purchase, so he's got some different figures in it. When they say cap value, okay, the overall value of this property is like $650 or something, if I remember right. This guy is 100% homestead. He's got cap value because he did what they call ported homestead from another house. He had a house down in South Florida. So he ported it over to cap value, which reduced his taxable value substantially. It probably saved him $3,000 or $4,000 in taxes. And once you sell a house, you have up to 2 years to port whatever your homestead cap was to the new house. Most people don't.
We did that.
Most people.
You can do it from a different county?
Yeah, you can do it in the state of Florida. You can do it in a different county. We're the only county in the country that you can do that with. Only state that will allow you to port your homestead, what we call deferred, to a new house that you buy within the state. I've used it one time already when I ported from St. John's to Putnam.
That's good.
Very valuable to have. And see, his available homestead cap value is $560,300. His taxable value is $319,000. This port value is $319,000 is what he brought over from his previous house in South Florida. That's how his taxable value got to be 197. The bigger the house
Just
they have.
explain the portability.
Okay. Portability it came into effect, I guess, about 8 years ago. 8 to 10. Okay, let's say, I'm gonna use round numbers because it's easier. Let's say, for instance, I bought a house for $50,000. I lived in it 8 years. So I built up a certain amount due to my homestead, which is called a deferred amount. Okay. I'm gonna use my house in St. Augustine. I had a deferred amount of $37,526, which when I bought the house in Satsuma, I decided I wanted to port that because it was allowable. So I took that 36,000, 37,000, whatever it was, and that reduces my taxable value on that house from 185 by 37.5, plus my $50,000 homestead comes down below that. So the amount of money, if you port, that you can save on property taxes is huge. But the number of people that don't do it because they're not told about it when they walk in the property appraiser's
This
office.
is a really important feature.
It is a huge
I'll tell you that
feature.
people don't know it, and we didn't know it either. And we did that on our house. When we moved, we did that. So our taxes on our house where we live is hardly anything.
Well, I'll give you, for instance, how few people know it. The realtor that we bought the house in Homestar from had never heard of porting value. Had never heard of it. And she had sold a house the year before and sold it for a lot more money and all this. I said, did you port to your new house? She said, what are you talking about? And this is going to be rude, but I'm getting ready to say, but I said, how long you been in real estate business? She said, 21 years. And I says, you don't know about portability. She says, never have heard of it. I says, I'm getting ready to save you a lot of money, and it's just by accident. You know how much money she had that she could port from that house? $187,000. The caveat to it is, to port it all, you have to buy something for $1 more than what you sold for.
That's easy.
If not, it's easy to do, but if not, I'm gonna give you, for instance, it's getting ready to happen. We're buying a lot over in Homosassa, and we're putting a manufactured home on it. Okay, my house on the creek is gonna sell for about $500,000. What I'm gonna have over there is gonna be a total of about $320,000. So I'm only gonna get to port a percentage, which is rude, of the amount that I've built up over 9 years. So that's the key, to get the maximum,
Right.
you have to, it's gotta be $1 more than what you sold for.
What's the time limit?
2 years, you have 2 years to port. Now there's a bill, I don't know how far it's gone, to extend that to 5 years for Florida residents who have been residents of Florida for 20 years or more. So they're trying to help guys that are in Florida stay in Florida to a degree. So that's but portability is a key. It's a huge item that people miss all the time. I'd recently met with a guy that moved from South to Palaca a year ago, knew nothing about portability. And he had a big house. And when he went down and filed, it made a huge change in his taxes. So that's just something,
Is there any calculator that somebody could go on and figure what their,
no,
no.
they don't want you to know that process.
They
Look,
don't-
I'm being honest with you.
I understand.
Look, let me tell you, I learned about portability from the master, this lady who had studied it, and I studied it for a year before I moved over to Palaca. And we never could get the formula they use if you're buying for less than what you sold for. They said, oh, it's just a percentage. Now, well, how do you get that percentage? We have a formula we get, but we won't
That's
give
what
that out.
that's what I was
They
asking.
won't give it out.
Oh,
They won't give it out. I've tried for years, and they won't give it out.
It's not just a percentage of the sale.
No, it's some kind of formula. that's crazy that they use.
So they decide the portability.
They decide the amount if it's not over what you sold for. If you pay $1 more than you sold it for, you get the max.
What would the max be?
Whatever your deferred is based on how many years you've had homestead. And I can't give you that factor because I don't know what it would be in your case.
Okay, just so I'm clear, because if I would have to explain it. What's the deferred?
Deferred amount, okay, you have a taxable value and you got an
Right.
assessed value, okay?
Yeah,
Your taxable value, the difference in those two is normally gonna be your deferred value.
okay, that's what I didn't understand.
I would use that as my base amount. Actually it works out to be a little bit more, but if you use that, you're gonna be safe. Like my taxable value on my house is valued at $467. My taxable value, I think, is $134. So there's a lot of deferred sitting there.
And
You
that's
can add
It's
those
the
two
difference
together.
between,
The
times,
difference in the two, yeah.
times the number of years you've been there.
Well, it builds up every year.
Right,
Your
that's
your
right.
deferred changes every year because of the 3% cap.
That's really important.
it's the difference between the taxable value and
Assessed
assessed
value.
value.
I would use that as the rule of thumb because that's gonna be pretty close. There's a couple other little factors in there that are minuscule, but there are some things. But if you use those two, normally you're gonna be pretty close to what your total deferred is. And keep in mind, it changes every year. In my case, where I'm at, it's changed so dramatically due to being on the water. Okay? And right now, there's such a shortage of waterfront properties for sale in Putnam County, you can just about name your price and get it.
You know, I think people have heard of portability, but it's hard to explain. Like you explained it clear, so now I understand.
Well, there's nobody in the property appraiser's office here that can explain portability. I sent somebody in there.
If they can't explain it.
I said, this guy right here, V-Craft, because he's my neighbor. I said, I want you to go in there and tell him to ask him to explain portability to you. And you want to know what their answer was?
What?
It is law that state enacted so you could port your deferred from wherever you live in to here if you live within the state of Florida. That was the answer.
That's real clear.
That was the answer. And I
Yeah.
says, did they tell you how to get it?
Yeah,
And you know what they say? We got a form here, you sign and we send it to your property appraiser's office and they send us back the deferred amount. They can't tell you anything. But that's with all offices, not just Putnam County.
Is that how you do it though? After you buy, you go to the property appraiser
Yeah.
and fill it out, and then they'll.
Yeah, it's a port form,
So-
but
portability form.
that's the way they do it. You fill out a form, they send it.
Yeah, they
and
send it, they won't
they-
let you take it to them.
No,
No, they send it to the previous taxing authority or property
Okay.
appraiser's office, they fill it out and they send it.
I wonder if that's the same way in St. John's.
Yeah, because we used to get them all the time when I worked up
Yeah.
there. Yeah, when, it started right before I left here and went over there. But, yeah, it's insane. Totally insane.
Especially changes every year.
It changes every year. You have a tax estimator. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it or ever used it. You probably have it over here.
Yeah, we do.
This one gets you pretty darn close. It really does. It'll get you pretty close. See, most of them don't have, and it says portability differential. Let me see what the answer is they give you now. Here, now this tells you a little bit about it. It gives you an idea of what portability is. You want to read that kind of quick.
Save our homes benefit.
For current homestead and to new homestead.
Guys, this could make the difference in the payments on some of the properties that people just wouldn't qualify. the difference in the taxes. Like in our house, there was enough difference in it to really make a significant difference after you. So we need to understand that difference.
And the other thing you need to understand is that a lot of your buyers don't understand the term differential. And that's the difference in the assessed value and market value or taxable value. They don't understand how that comes into play, okay? Because your taxable value, if you have homestead, is much less than your total assessed value. Especially if you've been there, say 10, 15, 20 years. If somebody's been in a home for 30 years, and let's say it's on the water, the appreciation rate is probably 180% from when they bought it. So that differential is going to be huge. And in some cases, it's hard for them to go buy a house and use all the differential, because most of the time they're wanting to size down. They're not wanting to buy that $600,000 and $700,000 house where they could maximize the differential, because they may not can afford it. Because what you could afford 30 years ago and what you can afford now is a huge difference. I don't have to tell y'all that, y'all know that. But this is just some of the ways, and you could show somebody that if you needed to, if you had a client that really didn't know it all, this is an easy way to show it to them and let them see it. You know, what that means.
That was good, Freddie. I appreciate you bringing that up. That's
Well, a lot of people don't realize how big a deal it is. It's a big deal when you're estimating taxes, see? And you know, then you click. The other thing that you need to know, basic homestead exemption is $25,000. That second line where it says additional homestead exemption, that's that other $25,000 that you started getting.
Except for school taxes, they're still taking
Yeah,
that
the
out.
second part,
Right.
yeah, you still don't pay school tax. There is a bill in the legislature that somebody brought up, I think it's gonna get shot down, that people 65 and over in the future could be exempt from school tax.
See, I think that's how it should be.
Well, in Georgia they are.
Yeah,
There are other states.
and there's certain subdivisions and area in Jersey where they are,
Yeah.
where it's primarily a lot of seniors.
Well, what gets me is none of my kids went to school in Putnam County.
Yeah, I understand.
So I mean, I don't feel like I should have to pay school tax.
So you think it'll get shut down though?
I think it will, because I think it's too much money.
Yeah, no,
It-
that's
yeah,
true.
It's too much money, you know.
So what low-income senior homestead exemption? What do you get for that?
Okay. If your income, let me see if I want to make sure I get this part right. If you're a senior citizen, and there's a senior citizen discount is $500, okay? If you're a low-income senior citizen, I think your income has to be less than $23,526. That's not hard to do in Putnam County, okay? You get an additional benefit. I don't know what that dollar figure is this year because it changes every year. So I don't know what that is. If you have all those, you can calculate, and it's going to give you a figure probably within 10% of what your actual tax would be. It's going to be, you know, relatively close. This little thing, I've used this, I don't know how many times. They've got more on it now than I had before, so, you know,
And you clicked on tax estimator? to
tax
get that?
estimator.
Okay.
It'll lead you to all of that.
All right, good.
Does St. Johns County have tax estimator on theirs
Yes.
now? They do, okay. It should do the same thing. Let me see what okay. You can, this is an overall sales search, okay? You can pick, you know, you've got all these different parameters that you can filter it down to. And you search, and it'll bring you up a list of sales in that range and that time frame. Okay. I never used it because I'd pull up the property and I would get what I wanted.
Right.
That's just me. I just do it a little differently. see if I can get this to move for me again.
Move down here.
I can't get it. There it is. It's coming back to me.
Yeah. Go over to the right. There you go.
There, I got it. Come back to what I want. Okay. You can get to them this way. I prefer to get to a tax estimator from the actual parcel I'm looking at, just because that's the one I'm usually figuring it on, and then I don't have to worry about some other stuff. You can get ag classifications if you've got somebody that's buying a big piece of ag land. Now, I don't think they have it on there, but you can actually file for agriculture exemption on the website now. I don't see it right up there, but
Putnam County, you have to physically go in there if you want to apply for homestead?
physically, yeah. That's anywhere now.
I know, I'm just clarifying that.
You can file, they're getting ready to get where you can file online.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you have to mail them a certified copy of your driver's license. Because your driver's license on homestead exemption has to match the property that you're homesteading.
I have
and your boat or car registration.
I have a customer that's been in his house for over 10 years in Palm Coast. Didn't buy through me, it was a spontaneous for sale by owner. But the title company, nobody told him about homestead. He has paid for 10 plus years over $10,000 a year in taxes.
There's a lot of title companies that don't say anything about homestead.
And he has no recourse. I mean, he's tried to call, he's pretty much don't have recourse.
Well, the title company that I bought the place up in Homestead never mentioned homestead.
I think that should be, well, of course, if you use a realtor, they can explain, but I think the title company at closing needs to sit down and tell them exactly what to do and your timeline and everything, you know.
Well, there are title companies that have homestead exemption forms in their office.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's just something that they have now.
Because if you come from out of state, you have no idea what homestead is.
That is true.
It's a huge impact on those taxes.
Okay, if y'all don't have any more questions, I think y'all got somebody else going to take over from where I am. But anytime y'all have any questions, feel free to call me if I can help you in any way. And if y'all ever want to get to where you go to some of this other stuff, let me know and I can come back and kind of.
So Putnam County, what percentage of the sales price do they use to assess for taxes?
Their rule of thumb is 80%.
So if we sell a new $200,000 package where we put a home on the land and
They're going to be at about 80% of that.
So about 160 would be
That'd be about what their taxable value before homestead.
Yeah.
That's better than here. I think it's higher in Central.
Most of your guys that buy your mobile homes go in and fill out a real property, make it as real property instead of tagging it.
Yeah, they retire the title.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
That was very
That's really good.
interesting.
That's very
Thank
interesting. We
I
appreciate it.
appreciate you coming.
Anytime. You're welcome. I do this